Why Stoics never feared the future in ancient Rome. A powerful senator named Marcus faced a terrible crisis. His enemies in the government were plotting against him. They wanted to take away his position, his wealth, and possibly even his life. Any normal person would have been terrified. They would have spent sleepless nights worrying about what might happen tomorrow. But Marcus was different. He was a Stoic philosopher, and he had learned something that changed everything about how he saw the future. One evening, his young nephew visited him. The boy was anxious and asked, "Uncle, aren't you afraid?" "Don't you worry about what will happen." Marcus smiled gently and replied, "I cannot control what others will do tomorrow. I can only control what I do today. Why should I fear something that hasn't happened yet?" This simple wisdom is at the heart of why Stoics never feared the future. But to truly understand this powerful idea, we need to explore what it really means and how it can change our lives today. The foundation of Stoic thinking. The Stoics were ancient philosophers who lived in Greece and Rome over 2,000 years ago. Some of the most famous Stoics were Epictetus, a former slave who became a great teacher; Seneca, a wealthy advisor to emperors; and Marcus Aurelius, who was himself a Roman emperor. Despite their very different backgrounds, they all shared the same core beliefs about life. The most important Stoic idea is simple but revolutionary. We must learn to tell the difference between what we can control and what we cannot control. This might sound obvious, but most people spend their entire lives worrying about things they cannot change. They worry about the weather, about what others think of them, about whether they will get sick, or about whether the economy will crash. All of this worry is useless, because these things are outside our control. According to the Stoics, there is only one thing we can truly control: our own thoughts, attitudes, and actions in the present moment. We cannot control what happened yesterday. We cannot control what will happen tomorrow. We can only control what we choose to do and think right now. Once we truly understand this, fear of the future begins to lose its power over us. Why fear of the future is pointless? Think about what fear of the future really is. When you worry about tomorrow, you are suffering today for something that might never happen. You are using your precious present moment to feel bad about an imaginary future. The Stoics saw this as a waste of life itself. Seneca, one of the great Stoic philosophers, wrote many letters about this problem. He noticed that people make themselves miserable by constantly living in fear. They imagine all the terrible things that might happen and then feel those emotions as if they were already real. But here is the truth. Most of the things we fear never actually happen. And even when bad things do happen, they are rarely as terrible as we imagined. The Stoics taught that we should focus our energy on the present moment because that is the only time we are truly alive. The past is gone forever. The future does not exist yet. The only real moment is now. When we worry about the future, we are essentially choosing to be miserable right now for no good reason. The practice of negative visualization, interestingly, the Stoics did not ignore the possibility of bad things happening. They had a practice called negative visualization, where they would sometimes imagine worst-case scenarios. But they did this in a very different way than normal worrying. When a Stoic practiced negative visualization, they would calmly think about something bad that might happen, like losing their job or becoming ill. But instead of panicking, they would ask themselves, if this happened, how would I handle it? What would I still have? What is within my control? They would realize that even in the worst situations, they still have their ability to choose how to respond. They still have their character and their values. This practice actually reduced fear instead of increasing it. By calmly facing their fears, Stoics took away the power those fears had over them. They realized that they could handle whatever life threw at them. They also learned to appreciate what they had in the present moment, knowing that nothing is permanent. The freedom of acceptance, another reason. Stoics never feared the future was their practice of acceptance. They understood that many things in life are simply beyond human control. The universe operates according to its own laws, and no amount of worrying will change that. Fighting against reality is like trying to hold back the ocean with your hands. It is exhausting and pointless. Instead of fighting reality, the Stoics taught acceptance. This does not mean being passive or giving up. It means accepting what has already happened or what is happening right now and then choosing the best possible response. It means not wasting energy on anger or fear about things you cannot change. Marcus Aurelius, who was Emperor of Rome and faced constant challenges, wrote in his personal journal, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." This acceptance of external events, combined with responsibility for internal responses, gave Stoics incredible mental freedom. They were not at the mercy of circumstances. They were free because they had control over the only thing that truly mattered: their own character and choices, living in alignment with nature. The Stoics also believed in living according to nature. By this, they meant understanding that change is the natural order of things. Everything in nature is constantly changing. Seasons change, people age, empires rise and fall. This is not something to fear. It is simply how the universe works. When we fear the future, we are often resisting this natural change. We want everything to stay the same. We want to hold on to our youth, our possessions, our status, and our loved ones forever. But this desire is unrealistic. Everything is temporary. By accepting this truth instead of fighting it, Stoics found peace. They also understood that challenges and difficulties are a natural part of life. Just as plants grow stronger when facing wind and weather, humans grow stronger through facing challenges. The Stoics did not see adversity as something to avoid or fear. They saw it as an opportunity to practice virtue and to become better people. The Stoic virtues at the heart of Stoic philosophy are four main virtues: wisdom, courage, justice, and self. These virtues are entirely within our control, regardless of what happens in the external world. A Stoic practiced these virtues, whether they were rich or poor, healthy or sick, free or imprisoned. This focus on virtue rather than external outcomes gave Stoics a kind of security that most people never find. Their happiness and peace of mind did not depend on whether good or bad things happened to them. It depended on whether they were living according to their values. This is something that the future cannot take away. No matter what tomorrow brings, you can still choose to be wise, courageous, just, and disciplined. Applying Stoic wisdom today. In our modern world, we face different challenges than the ancient Stoics did, but the fundamental human experience has not changed. We still worry about the future. We still fear loss, failure, and death. We still struggle with things outside our control. The Stoic approach offers us a way out of this constant anxiety. When you find yourself worrying about the future, ask yourself, is this within my control? If it is not, let it go and focus on what you can control right now. If it is within your control, stop worrying and start taking action. Remember that most of your suffering comes from your thoughts about events, not from the events themselves. You can choose different thoughts. You can choose courage over fear, acceptance over resistance, and wisdom over panic. The Stoics never feared the future because they understood a profound truth. The future is not real. It is just an idea in our minds. The only reality is this present moment And in this moment, you have everything you need to respond to life with virtue and dignity. That is true freedom, and that is why fear held no power over the Stoics.